On Friday. Kids are
Commissioners, can you hear me?
Yes. How you doing?
I'm in a restaurant. It's the best Wi-Fi that I could find in Bar Harbor. So if there is background noise, please let me know, and I'll turn the microphone over to somebody who will avoid any interference.
Not a problem. You sound great right now.
Great. Are we ready?
1 second.
breaking out with all. Right.
We're good to go.
Great. I'd like to call the Dauphin County Board of Commissioners legislative meeting for Wednesday, October 2nd, 2024 to order, starting by a moment of silence, followed by a pledge to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag. The United States of America, to the republic for which it stands. Thank you. The first order of business today is the approval of minutes for the September 11th, 2024 workshop meeting, September 18th, 2024 legislative meeting, and the September 18th, 2024. Actually, we'll do the legislative and the workshop meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Douglas,
I'll second that.
second by Commissioner Priest. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Now the September 18th, 2024 salary board meeting minutes. Do we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Douglas,
Second.
second by Controller Bateman. Welcome back, Controller Bateman. Are there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. The ayes have it. Executive sessions held between meetings. Mr. Pease?
Morning, Commissioners. As you know, there were no executive sessions held between meetings.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Pease? Hearing none, this is the first opportunity on the agenda for public participation on agenda items only. And Commissioners Douglas and Priest, if you can help me out, I don't see anybody in the audience. If there are anybody that's indicating they want to speak, please let me know and I will certainly accommodate. Is there anybody that wants to comment on any agenda items on today's meeting?
It does not look like anyone has indicated. Oh, hold on. There will be another opportunity for public participation at the end of the meeting. So that would be the place if it's not on the agenda. Is it on the agenda? Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, we're good to move forward.
Great. All right, directors and guests, salary board, Tanisha Whedon. Tanisha?
Morning.
I'm just requesting a vote on salary report items 1 through 15.
First, I believe we need to take salary board action. Is there any questions or concerns related to any of the salary board items in front of us?
I'll make a motion that we approve salary board items A, B, and C.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, just verifying, as I've been doing, that all of these are within the budgeted numbers for 2024.
They are.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Any additional discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. The ayes have it. Now the personnel packet. Any questions on the personnel packet? I'll entertain a motion on the personnel packet.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Douglas, second by Commissioner Priest. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Tanisha.
All right, thank you.
Budget and Finance Director, Mr. Davis.
Morning.
Good morning.
I have no changes to the investment report that was sent out. You'll notice some of the other investment accounts have started, the interest rates have started dropping with the recent Fed move, but those that are locked in continue to stay where they're at.
Any questions on the investment report? Hearing none, purchase order packet.
There was a revised packet sent out this morning with the addition of, it's the last 4 POs that are in the packet.
Are there any questions for Mr. Davis on the purchase order packet? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to accept and adopt the purchase order packet.
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Chief Clerk's report, Mr. Pease.
Commissioners, I have nothing to report unless there are questions of me.
Any questions of Mr. Pease?
I have some questions. After reflecting on the events of September 23rd's executive session, I have serious concerns about the procurement process for our healthcare insurance plan and several questions. First and foremost, I just want to express that I'm deeply concerned about our employees and the health benefits that they receive. I believe it's my duty to ensure that every county employee and their family have access to quality, affordable health care. That being said, I feel the entire process may have been compromised. To better understand, could you please explain the process and how it was handled from the beginning?
So Benecon acts as our consultant when it comes to procuring medical and prescription insurance, and putting out that RFP. So in July, they put out that RFP. There was two options, medical.
So hold
Yeah.
on, just real quick. But before they put out the RFP, someone would have directed them to put the RFP out. Am I correct?
Yes,
They're our broker. They work on our behalf.
correct.
Who did that?
I would be the Chairman Hartwig. So they put out the RFP. They did two options, only medical and then a carve out for prescription. We received three responses for medical, both carved in and out, and then three for the carve out option for prescriptions. Benecon received those in August. At the end of August, Benecon did the different evaluations. At the end of August, Benecon reached out to myself and our two employees from HR, Faye Fisher and Darla Mathis. Faye is the director. Darla is our benefits coordinator. For finalist presentations, Benecon selected Highmark and Capital for the medical, but also for their proposals for medical carved in. And we met with one carve out vendor, Affirmed RX. Following that, following that, we then, it was then asked for best and final offers by September 5th. At that point, on September 7th, I was provided the results of those proposals. I then that week shared them with all three commissioners. I then gave the option to have Benecon explain those presentations to any commissioner that would like to do so. And then we had a executive session on the 23rd to discuss the results of that proposal, or all those proposals.
Okay. Could I quickly review my timeline just to make sure I
Sure.
understand? And feel free to, I guess, just let me know. So
Yep.
Pre-RFP discussions took place before July 15th. Like 1 month, 2 months, 3 months.
I think it was understood that we were going to have to make a decision at some point. As
Who's we?
Because
I wasn't part of that decision.
me and the chairman, as we were forward thinking of, this is the third year of our Capital Blue Cross contract, and a decision would have to be made. So I would say it's something I've been aware of, but nothing serious until probably May or June.
The RFP was announced July 15th.
I believe that is the date that they sent it out. I can verify
That's
that.
what I have on the packet,
quickly.
on the RFP.
That is correct.
The proposals were due August 5th.
Correct.
The best and final offers packet the best and final offers were due September 5th, and then the packet was provided dated September 7th, correct?
Correct.
The following week,
Correct.
September 9th through 13th, somewhere in there, I remember you walking into my office with the results of that, correct?
Correct.
Is that the first time I was notified about this process? To my knowledge, it's the first time I was
I
notified.
believe it was the first time you and I discussed any type of proposals being received. I'm not sure if I did mention that we needed to go through the process, but that is our first, I would say, formal conversation about the RFP.
That conversation was pretty brief.
Relatively so.
It was 1 page that I was shown.
Yes.
Was I able to keep the 1 page or did it go back with you?
Not at that time, no.
Then I had questions, including, I think, Vincent, all the time you've known me, Would you say I've consistently stated both in public meetings and private conversations that I need to be informed and involved in a process if my support's being sought?
Yes,
So I did not feel informed and included in the process already at that point, but I had questions of how we were going to ensure that our members had healthcare coverage, given the fact that the ball's on the 1 yard line and I'm being asked to run a play. Given that we have very little time, and I expressed a desire for a renewal, of which Benecon did not provide an option, which we do have an option for renewal in our current contract, correct? For
we
1 year.
do.
Okay. So I asked to meet with Benecon, or you had offered, like you said, to all the commissioners, and I had taken you up on that offer, right? We met together, you and I, with
Yes.
Benecon on September 19th. That was
Yes,
Thursday.
this Thursday.
September
Yes,
19th.
Thursday
Okay.
morning.
During that meeting, primarily, I think I remember asking about the 4th year option. I remember expressing concerns about the RX carve out option, especially in light of the challenges we've been dealing with Oracle. Is that correct?
Your expressed concerns as far as if we would go with the
Implementation,
carve out and
yes.
implementation. Yes,
Okay, so and did you share those concerns?
yes, I do share those.
Okay, so I just want to make
Still do.
sure everyone understands, when we get healthcare, we can have an all-in option, which means your RX is covered and your medical is covered. But you can also have a carve-out option, which would simply mean that you would get an extra RX card. You would have a separate broker or separate provider for that, which could get very complicated given the challenges we've had with Oracle. And whatever savings we would have, we could potentially just end up spending that to see our cedar to fix Oracle if it were to, especially under the strenuous timeline we're going to have to pull something like that off. So I expressed concern over that. Then I show up to a meeting, an executive session meeting on September 23rd. And we are provided options, but they are not the options that, there's an option that has changed. Am I correct in that?
There was a new option.
There was a new option.
I guess to clarify, there was a new best option for a proposal from one of the providers. Yes.
One might call it a bester and finaler option.
Sure.
As absurd as that sounds, that's the way it felt in that meeting. And that's why I left. And so it does not, in my opinion, merit a competitive and fair advantage or a competitive and fair process for one particular entity to have an advantage. And that option that was at the top was an all-in option, was it not?
Correct. Both medical and prescription. Yes.
Which was what I said I would only be in favor of in a meeting that I had with Benecon, which in some way, shape, or form, I feel as if that information, there was a private conversation with our broker who's supposed to be working on our behalf, may have very well been shared with someone to work on the behalf of the vendor to come in with a last second offer when the other 2 entities that were bidding on the process did not get a chance to give a bester and finaler offer. We were made aware that they were not given a chance to make an offer, correct? They were not solicited for an offer.
It is my understanding that they were not.
From what I
Yep.
understand, Commissioner Priest and I have had very similar situation. Is that correct, Commissioner Priest? You haven't, you also?
I don't even recall being invited to meet with Benecon.
Well, I offered that to all 3 commissioners.
Did anyone instruct you not to share information with myself and Commissioner Priest, or to wait until the end?
I think it was that there was a desire to keep the process and the information to as limited parties as possible.
Given the scope and magnitude of this contract, it's 80 million over 3 years potentially. How is it that the county's largest procurement, I would assume, along with the corresponding RFP process, initial proposed evaluation process, and it occurred without two of the county's chief executive officers being a part of it? Like, it raises serious concerns about transparency, governance, protocols in the procurement process. Like, what kind of operation where there are 3 CEOs leaves out 2 of the CEOs in the process until the end and then says it was done for the sake of integrity. I don't understand. Can you help me understand how that might have helped the process have more integrity?
I think, I guess, I don't know if this helps, but there was no negotiation prior to me sharing the results of the proposals to the commissioners.
There was plenty of deliberation about what the nature of the RFP would be. Wouldn't you want your CEO to review an RFP before it goes out to ensure that their priorities are also considered?
I could see that being reasonable expectation.
I guess I don't understand how this process is right, but this seems to just be a consistent thing I've dealt with since I got here, that I am boxed out of information that is critical for me to be able to do my job. And if everyone just wants to keep saying, well, this is status quo, this is how it goes, it's unacceptable. Commissioner Priest, I think you might have, I don't have it.
Unless Commissioner Hartwick must add anything.
I'm having a little bit of trouble hearing, but from what I gathered in this, I think the idea of boxing anybody out was never anybody's direction or intention. The idea of trying to, in a year where we've got, again, another significant budget crisis in which we are facing a number of challenges with a $54 million budget deficit and an ending contract for a 3-year plan with capital. The idea of initiating a process by which we could, and that we've done for 20 years, to ensure that we are negotiating a contract that provides cost savings to taxpayers and the best possible, if not better, benefits to our employees, and a self-funded arrangement. Again, we are only RFPing just the administration of our benefits here. We are a self-funded plan. And the idea of saving any money on the administration of the plan is a direct savings to taxpayers without compromising any of the benefits that are given to employees. The process was pretty simple. With that in mind, there was an RFP that was placed out by the consultant that asked for bids. Those bids came back. They were discussed with staff. From what I was engaged with the process on, there was an opportunity for them to give one final and best offer. That final and best offer came in on September 5th or September 7th. And then there was an offer that I was made aware of at the same time both you and Commissioner Priest were made aware of. That was an unsolicited offer, which happens in many cases in many of these arrangements, whether it's a tax credit program, whether it is for healthcare benefits. As far as I was able to determine, no one solicited an additional proposal. And I think when we had the discussion about it and we were all alerted at the same time, the discussion was that wouldn't be considered. That the last and final offers that came in on September 5th or September 7th would be the last and final offers. And based upon that, there was, a summary that was supposed to be provided in an executive session. But because of that final offer that came in that was not solicited, there was not really a discussion about that.
All right. Well, I guess that's my segue to start. Commissioner Douglas, thank you for your comments. Commissioner Hartwick, Vince, thank you for your responses. I have some comments I'd like to make here on this topic. Initially, I was very disturbed that I was not included at all in the healthcare renewal process and was never even advised that the process has started. But as a result of what I learned on September 23rd, which also caused me to walk out of the meeting, I want to personally thank those who chose to exclude me from the process. I was not advised when the RFP went out. I was not advised how many vendors applied.
I'm sorry, can you hear me? Somehow it was cut off.
I'm making some comments now, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
I was not advised when the RFP went out. I was not advised how many vendors applied. I was not advised of any timelines or deadlines. I was not given an opportunity to weigh in on any recommended improvements over the current contract. Let me give a little visual here. I don't usually do this, but I want to do this to send a message.
Cookies.
Commissioner Douglas, if you may, what are these?
Those are cookies.
How many?
I know them well too.
They look pretty similar, right?
Yeah.
No, they're chocolate chip cookies. Both of them look exactly the same. I also have two proposals in front of me, and it's big, big money, $79 million worth of money. Now, similar to the cookies, they look the same. Same exact wording inside. In fact, the one dated September 7th, 2024, Dauphin County RFP analysis, best and final offer. And there's another one dated September 23rd, Dauphin County RFP analysis, best and final offers. Both clearly state finalists were chosen based on best initial pricing offer. Proposal 1, dated September 7th, 2024 says, and I quote, I'm not going to say what the vendors are. Vendor A and vendor B were requested to submit the best and final offers by Thursday, September 5th. The following slides are the results of those offers. Both proposals say the same thing. Now, the September 7th proposal, for some reason, was not initially given to us at the meeting. What was, for some reason, provided to us was another packet dated September 23rd. It also has the exact same wording, and I quote, vendor A and vendor B were requested to submit the best and final offers by Thursday, September 5th. The following slides are the result of these offers. Now, this is where what looks the same is actually quite different. The packet presented to us on September 23rd is the official best and final offer by September 5th, included a new proposal from one vendor, but not the others. And surprise, surprise, guess what happened? The proposal that only one vendor somehow was able to submit moved up from number 3 to number 1. This process, I agree with Commissioner Douglas, is compromised. Who did it and who authorized it? As I mentioned, this is a $79 million contract. It's big money. Is there a hand in the cookie jar? I don't know. But last week, I sent several emails asking for clarification of who did it and who authorized it, requesting that all 3 commissioners needed to be part of any and all communication moving forward regarding this matter to keep the process from being further compromised. That did not occur. And as a result, at the very best, we will have to restart this process. We're not going to have a new 3-year plan in place, and the best option may be a 1-year contract. This was a complete disservice to our employees and their families, a complete disservice to our staff who spent months working on this, and a complete disservice to our taxpayers who will now be footing the bill twice when it should have been done properly the first time.
Commissioner
You're
Hardwick, you might be
speaking over-
muted.
We can't hear you. You might be muted.
I'm sorry. I'd like to know from the perspective of our attorneys, with a process that we have a structure here where there was a clear timeline in order to submit bids. When a unsolicited bid comes in, because again, there was nobody that solicited, to my knowledge. I inquired to Benecon directly, and there was no one that solicited an additional bid. The bids were closed by September 5th. The remedy in that case, if there's any additional bids that would ever come in, would be to disqualify any bids once the closing date occurred. And I thought that that was pretty clear that that was going to occur. So how has the process been tainted?
Did Benetcon communicate that that final bid came in on September 20th at 5 p.m.? That's what this said.
I had no
That's what I
idea.
recall.
I had no idea that any final bid came in until we had an executive session.
But in the executive session, I believe they disclosed that information.
And
They
in
said
that
it came in
executive
Friday.
session, yeah, I had no idea. I was asking the same questions you were, and I provided an email that or the text that talked about, you know, my inquisition as to how and when was that. I was told it was an unsolicited bid that that arrived at some point over the weekend or on a Friday. Vince, you may be able to clarify that. But my position, the moment I found out in that meeting and now, was that bid should be disqualified. I don't know why we'd make more of it than that.
Benetcon stated that it was received sometime after 5 p.m. on September 20th, but to my knowledge was not communicated to anyone at the county until we all opened up the packet at the executive session.
I think we're all in agreement that Benetcon should not have included a late bid. I would like to hear a difference of opinion if that exists in the room, but I don't think that exists. What I'm
There's
calling
not.
into question is the integrity of the entire process. When you leave two CEOs of an entity out of the process, you get it all the way to the finish line and you ask us to run a play on the 1 yard line. I don't feel very much part of this team at that point, especially feel like the quarterback of the team, someone who should be knowing the play, running the play, executing the play, directing staff, at the very least in the room when these decisions are being made to put something out for RFP. I came here, the first day I got here, I said RFP everything. I didn't even know our bridge engineer went out to RFP. That's a whole nother problem we're going to have to talk about someday. I was never notified of that. I'm not notified now that our biggest contract goes out to bid. It's absolutely absurd. Like no organization runs this way.
What's absurd is to not think that any commissioners were notified that we were RFPing healthcare. Like no one was aware that we were RFPing healthcare.
Did you notify me?
No, the chief clerk, we're not supposed to be having these conversations. The chief clerk is to notify the other commissioners related to these processes and communicating with them through the process.
Mr. Pease,
And were you aware that there was an RFP?
were you aware there was an RFP that went out, Mr. Pease?
Yeah, I'm asking the commissioners, were they aware?
Oh, I was not aware an RFP went out until September, until I saw it when it was walked into my office, and then I couldn't even keep the one pager.
I was
So-
aware that this was year 3 of a 3-year contract. No one ever notified me of any RFP or asked me to make any recommendations on things to add to the RFP.
So no one notified either of you that there was an RFP that was going out to solicit bids from healthcare providers at the end of the year 3 of a 3-year deal with Capital Blue Cross.
No,
No,
So Vince, there was no notification to the commissioners that we were doing an RFP for healthcare.
I would say that there was no notification prior to the RFP going out.
shouldn't a commissioner review an RFP?
I
for
think
the
we should all
largest
review the RFP.
contract
I think we
before
should
it
all
goes
review the
out
RFP.
for
I,
proposal?
as we were going through this process, I was making the assumption that the RFP was being communicated and there was being provided feedback from the commissioners.
I just want to ask, Vince, did anyone direct you not to communicate the information to myself or Commissioner Priest?
As I stated before, it was, as far as information, I believe
I'm talking about the RFP going out. I'm talking about the nature of the RFP. I'm talking about the dates, the timeline. Prior to you walking into my office with the one pager, were you ever directed, requested to not include me in the process, however minimal that inclusion might have been?
the only portion of it that I would say that I was given direction to keep, as I think I stated before, close to the vest, was any numbers of those proposals received.
And who
Um,
directed you to do that?
So for this particular matter, I was taking my direction from Commissioner Hartwick. All the commissioners assign me different duties. They take on different projects. This one, I was at the direction of Commissioner Hartwick, and was doing the best I could through that process to keep that process moving, to keep it fair, to keep it, to make sure it met the best interest of.
I guess I want to
county.
add in there, sorry to interrupt, but to keep the process fair, why would our vendor include one proposal but not the others after the best final offer date? That's where I'm stuck on that.
I cannot speak for the vendor.
Did you have communications with the vendor after our meeting on the 23rd?
Can we clarify? Are we talking about Benecon
Yes.
as our vendor?
Yes.
I was clearly a part of the text message that you had already been provided. I had asked Kathy to provide me any of the current contracts that we have with them, as I was requested by both you and Commissioner Douglas to provide certain number of documents. I'd request make sure I had all of those for you. So I did have communication with them, yes.
Were there any phone calls or Zoom calls following that meeting with Benecon?
I believe, to be honest, I spoke with Kathy today to double check on if there were any agreements that she had not forwarded me in preparation for any questions or comments. I believe I had spoken with her immediately after the executive session, or within a day or so, and to get more clarity, if there was any clarity to get on why this particular bid came in. But it was the same answers that I've already shared and you were all shared with, that they did not solicit. They were adamant that they did not solicit a bid from
Was
Highway.
that conversation between you and Benecon alone, or were others party to that?
I believe there was a conversation with me, Commissioner Hart, and Kathy.
So even following our concerns being expressed about being left out of the process, the follow-up further left Commissioner Priest out of the process. I still don't understand. Can I ask one question of clarity for the RFP that I forgot to ask? The RFP mentions a review committee. Who's the review committee?
I understand that committee to be the committee that met with the finalists, unless it is referencing, it may be referencing an internal committee of just Kathy Cook and Dan Moyer at Benecon. But the way I understand that to be is the finalists committee, which was also Kathy Cook and Dan Moyer, but it also included myself, Faye Fisher, and Darla Mathis.
And who appointed that review committee? Because I don't believe
there was
Commissioner
no
Priest or I.
no formal appointment. I believe in the past processes, those were the positions that had always been involved in this process. So the chief clerk, the director of HR, and the benefits coordinator. There was no direction or appointment of said committee. Are there any further questions of me during my report?
I'm going to request as one commissioner that as we review this process again, moving forward, that an entirely new group, unaffiliated with the group that was part of this process this time, takes the lead on this process in the future, whether that be a group recommended by CCAP or ask our solicitors to find.
I find it very ironic that we've done this process for 20 years, Commissioner Priest. And I've been engaged and involved in negotiating these things, and we now have an issue with personnel being involved in the review process. And the point is they are the ones who are supposed to be the oversight and implementation of benefits. Them and HR are the ones, along with the chief clerk, that has always provided that review, along with whatever consultant was working with the county. So the idea that no one has engaged you related to the understanding of the RFP, I'm hearing that for the first time. Like I never knew today that you guys were not engaged and involved and aware of an RFP going out from Dauphin County. And then again, we're at a late time of the year. If we would have not moved in July to be able to do this, we would not have consideration. And now we have, I believe, standing offers prior to the September 5th that could potentially provide savings to the county. We can review processes later, and that, I'm fine with, providing the opportunity to anyone who wants to move forward with this process. I quite frankly believe that this was one of the most credible processes I've been involved with, related to both not having information on the outside and ensuring that we got the best offers from the providers in a way that's going to help save taxpayers dollars and ultimately try to save the employees a level of benefits that we should be providing to them. So I'm all open for an executive session and review, but who was going to start to move forward this process absent the chief clerk and the oversight commissioner? I'm asking.
Based on what I'm hearing you say is that this was a credible process after all the concerns that Commissioner Priest and I just said. All I heard was you tell me this was a credible process. And what I want to say is you're saying at one moment that you're surprised that this is the first you've ever heard of us being left out of the process. In the next moment, you're saying it's credible process. Trust me.
I don't believe you
trust
being
what
left
I
out of the
verified,
process is
and-
appropriate. But the process, I can assure you, was one with significant ability to ensure the best final offers that came in under the time constraints and the RFP process.
The entire broker of the process did something that at least I deem from this chair, and I'll speak as an independent party, unethical. They allowed one particular entity to get a competitive advantage by slipping in a last second bid that just happened to be the first bid at the very top. And that was potentially done because of insider information that was discussed on September 19th in my call with the broker. So the broker that apparently crafted this amazing, great process is the one in which I have deep ethical questions about. And you're telling me that the process was great. It's yielded us a great product, and it hasn't. This is just not how any entity operates. I just want to remind people, Commissioner Hartwick is oversight of HR. This is certainly an HR matter. I do not make decisions as the oversight of prison unilaterally. I have a board that I have to communicate to. There are not decisions as an oversight for $79 million contracts that you make and you wait until the last second to bring your colleagues in on it. That is just not the way it works. And I understand if you're saying that our clerk did not do his job in sharing this information with us, but it seems like the integrity of the process was the fact that it was held in the shadows until the last second so that no one could compromise it.
But
well, then I should have never met with Benecon when I met with them.
It seems like there are claims that everything is always held in the shadows. And from my perspective, I don't believe that is true.
Well, it is for me. My experience is very different than yours.
Well, there are many complicated processes within county government that need to be operational, and to ensure that
it's not complicated to communicate to a CEO what your organization is doing.
And
that's
my
not
job,
complicated.
My job is to instruct and to figure out a way to move forward a process that doesn't miss timelines and ensures that it has credibility. There has never been a question related to how these processes are run, and quite frankly, I welcome all that input. But for questioning the integrity of how this occurs is absolutely not correct. Engaging in additional information, we can always do. And quite frankly, there are, and I'd like to ask the solicitor this question. Are there ever unsolicited offers that come in for bids for tax credits or healthcare or anything else that what would be the remedy for something that would be unsolicited and come in after a date that is supposed to be the end of the time in which you are accepting a bid?
I think typically something, well, first of all, this isn't a bidding process. This is an RFP. So
Yeah,
it's important to understand that distinction in the law. Typically that they would be disregarded, thrown out, shredded, not considered. Okay. So in the solicitor's opinion, my opinion, there's three options. Execute a 1-year renewal with capital. Take the after deadline bid, which is a savings to the county. Or if you don't like either of those options, disregard the after deadline bid and select from the three that were submitted properly under the last and best deadline. Now, those are your options, but it would be improper for me in a public meeting to give counsel or answer questions in terms of legal advice as to what option you should or should not take, or what the ramifications are.
My response to that is, how in the world would we accept the one that came in after the process was completed without offering the other vendors an opportunity to put in a best final offer? And this was the issue in past years. So why would that be a recommendation?
I'm not recommending any, I'm just giving you the three options that you have, and that would be a fourth.
Option.
You could open the RFP back up and have the other two submit. What did you call them, Commissioner Douglas? Laster and
In this
bester?
particular case, it would be bester and finaler offers.
Thank you. I'm not familiar with those words, but I
Neither am
appreciate
I.
it.
Silly as it sounds. Can I ask a question, Commissioner Priest? You've been through this process before. Maybe I'm just overreacting. Were you given more information in the past when you were part of an RFP process for
Yes.
healthcare? Okay.
Yes, would be in meetings, and in fact, I talked to one of the prior chief clerks who verified that when the RFP would go out, it would all be advised, and we would be advised who the potential bidders were and or the vendors, and then through the process would be part of the process. And this time that did not occur. But again, with everything going down, I'm actually okay with the fact, after the fact, that I didn't know till September 23rd.
Based on what our solicitor just said, I just want to make it clear that I'm only in favor of a 1-year option so that we can get this process right next year and include all three of the county CEOs, considering I'm elected by the constituents of Dauphin County to oversee the processes whereby we enter into contracts. And if you want me to trust you, then you need to include me in the process. I'm not going to vote. I'm also not going to hold hostage our healthcare for the employees and their families here. Over 3,000 people are impacted by this. So I'm willing to vote, even including for Benecon, although I do think they need to be reviewed after we get them in on this 1-year extension, because I believe we're going to have to use them based on the situation we're in. And then from there, I just want to make it clear that should probably be on the agenda next week, or we should be rushing that. Due to the reality that we have a very short timeline, and my concerns for Oracle still weigh heavy. And I don't want us to spend all kinds of money to see our Cedar for whatever challenge it's going to be for us to get this healthcare renewal process through. So this cannot sit for a month and then us act surprised when it's a challenge for us to onboard this. We have to get this done. I believe, at least from this commissioner's seat, that this needs to be expedited. It needs to be our sole thing that we're doing around here for the next week until we figure out what plan we're going with. And I, for one, am only supporting a 1-year renewal so that we can get it right next year.
And my position is I'd support the 1-year renewal as well and have this discussion. And it still does allow and afford us the opportunity to save money and renegotiate, which was the purpose of the RFP. Absent our ability to have that process, we would not be sitting here with that ability to have those level of savings.
Questions for me?
And I share the same concerns related to Sierra Cedar. If we would not be in this position right now, we would never have the opportunity to implement any kind of levels of changes. And that plan is still not as clear as it should be related to the implementation and the maintenance of benefits and maintaining our current provider in light of the Sierra Cedar concerns is something we have voiced throughout the process.
If there are no further questions of me, I could direct the chair to move to the solicitor's report.
Any additional questions?
None from me.
All right, matters requiring our solicitor's report. Solicitor Owens.
Thank you, Commissioner. Matters requiring board action numbers 1 through 34 have been reviewed by the solicitor. And with the exception of number 4, are approved and ready for board action.
Any questions on the matters requiring board action for Solicitor Owens? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion for the matters requiring board action.
I'll make that motion.
Motion
I'll
made by
second.
Commissioner Priest, second by Commissioner Douglas. Is there any discussion?
I got a couple questions. Just want to ensure, number 10, I'm excited about this program. It's, that it just gets spotlighted in the sense that it's, for, paid and unpaid, interns, through, SCPA Works and, CareerLink. And I'm just excited about the opportunity to continue to, include young people, and those interested in, getting involved in government and, maybe exploring a job in this, space as we continue to work to develop our workforce. Also, question for the clerk, number 31, it says agreement between Dauphin County Economic Development and Rapid Car Rental LLC for the local share municipal grant. I've just had a couple constituents express questions about this. It's my understanding, and just correct me if I'm wrong, and certainly feel free to fill in the blanks, that this is a gaming grant that had limitations on the grant. And what we are voting on today is kind of to give variance to some of those, I guess, restrictions within the grant. This is not a grant that economic development is entering into a relationship with a car rental company.
No.
It is economic development we've already approved a grant to this entity, and all we are doing is changing some of the stipulations of that grant.
That is correct.
Correct.
You guys, the commissioners had earlier in the year, along with the last round of gaming grants, you had agreed to accept like a template, but if there is any condition precedents that are set on a grantee for the award, those need to be stated in the agreement. So that's why this is being brought before you. Just because there is a particular, as you stated, there's a particular condition that needed to be added. So yes, this is not a grant to Dauphin County Economic Development. It is a grant to Rapid Car Rental LLC, who received a gaming grant.
Understood. Point of order, are we tabling 5 or 4, or are we, we're tabling it for next meeting?
Correct.
Okay.
So you are tabling number 5 within that motion.
No, number 4,
Four.
number 4.
Number 4.
I just want to make sure that reflects Commissioner Priest's motion in my second. It does for you? It does for me as well. Okay.
So there's a friendly amendment being made to table number 4. Am I correct?
Correct.
And that's been moved and seconded. Is there any additional discussion on these matters? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Moving down. Is there any former business? Any new business? Commissioners' discussions and actions. Commissioner Priest?
Yes, I'd just like to add that yesterday was the annual Dauphin County golf outing at Dauphin Highlands. It was a rainy day, but the staff at Dauphin Highlands did a remarkable job. Special thanks to Sheriff Kameni and Controller Bateman for everything that they did there yesterday. And then the great Parks and Rec staff, who, as we know, are the #1 Parks and Rec department in the state of Pennsylvania. They put on another great event. Thanks to our volunteers and the sponsors, raised over $50,000 for charity yesterday. And that has brought the total to date for the golf outing to $960,000. So we're hoping that next year we surpass that 1 million number.
Commissioner Douglas.
Yeah, I have rather lengthy comments here. I want to start by providing another update about the documents I requested for VHH. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to meet with VHH legal counsel to discuss gathering the documents I requested. I've been assured that the entirety of the documents I have requested will be provided in the coming days, and I'm choosing to take them at their word. However, documents I have already received have been rather concerning. The concerns are straightforward. A sitting commissioner directed millions of dollars to an entity that employed his wife. That alone should raise alarms for everyone. However, the additional details I've uncovered only deepen these concerns and highlight the urgent need for this body to take action. As an elected official committed to transparency, I believe the public has a right to know this information, and therefore I have done my best to put together these concerning elements of what I've discovered. For the sake of clarity, just for those who maybe aren't familiar, VHH is Visit Hershey-Harrisburg, also goes by Hershey-Harrisburg Regional Visitors Bureau. They are our designated tourism authority. As I mentioned, it'll just be VHH moving forward. On December 16th, 2015, the Dauphin County Commissioners approved $800,000 in funding for VHH, a $400,000 increase from previous year's allocation. This approval was supported by all commissioners, including Commissioner Jeff Haste. 44 days later, on January 29th, 2016, Maria Haste, the spouse of Commissioner Jeff Haste, became a contracted employee to VHH. To my knowledge, her employment was never publicly disclosed, and my colleagues have stated on record that they were unaware of her position at VHH. Maria Haste remained employed by VHH until April 3rd, 2020, when she received her final paycheck just over 4 years of employment. Am I really expected to believe that out of 286,000 residents in Dauphin County, VHH just happened to choose Maria Haste, the spouse of a sitting commissioner, for a job that in my view she wasn't even qualified for, a job that was never publicly posted, and despite being cited for disorderly conduct and public drunkenness at one of the major tourism destinations, Hollywood Casino, her contract was still renewed yearly. For anyone thinking I'm making this personal, let me be clear. Commissioner Haste made it personal when he failed to disclose this conflict of interest and continued to vote on matters involving VHH without abstaining. Commissioner Haste failed to disclose the conflict or abstain from voting, instead choosing to support to direct millions of dollars to VHH while his wife was employed there. Similarly, Commissioner Haste did not disclose or abstain when voting to appoint 3 different board members to VHH during the time of his wife's employment. Among the appointed board members, one worked for the county's lobbyist and another was a county employee, which raises serious concerns about their ability to address potential conflicts of interests. Their professional affiliations cast doubt on whether they could genuinely act independently and objectively in the public's best interest. The public has a right to know when personal financial gain intersects with public governance. In this case, transparency was sacrificed and influence over publicly taxed funds and appointments was yielded without disclosure, undermining the trust the public places in their elected officials. This cannot be brushed aside as an oversight. It is a breach of the ethical standard we expect from our leaders, and it demands accountability. The concerns, however, extend beyond the undisclosed decisions involving VHH. It has also come to my attention that Commissioner Jeff Haste was a contracted employee of Prime Care Medical while serving as a sitting commissioner. Mr. Haste was hired on March 1st, 2017, while holding office and serving as a member of the prison board. Although he stepped down as chair of the prison board and abstained from Prime Care related votes, I have found no evidence that he abstained from participating in executive sessions, information sharing, and deliberations regarding Prime Care while making $60,000 a year from the entity. What's even more concerning is that approving the county's annual budget inherently means approving one of the largest vendors, Prime Care, which provides health care for our prison. In my 9 months here, discussions about Prime Care have been pretty consistent. It would be nearly impossible for a prison board member with a conflict of interest to remain involved without regularly stepping out of executive sessions. However, I've spoken with some who were present in those meetings, and no one can recall a single instance where Commissioner Hayes left due to a conflict. Even more troubling, they also don't recall any such conflict ever being disclosed explicitly to the prison board. The fundamental question is this: how can an elected official entrusted with the responsibility of serving the public simultaneously be employed by a vendor and still uphold the best interests of Dauphin County taxpayers? As an elected official, I may need to stand up to a vendor to get the best deal for the taxpayers. But if that same vendor is helping me pay my bills, who am I really fighting for? For the people or for myself? Our primary duty as elected officials is to operate with transparency and unwavering loyalty to those who have entrusted us with their confidence. Balancing a conflict like the one Commissioner Hayes and Prime Care carried isn't just a difficult nuisance. It's impossible to resolve, and it represents a clear breach of public trust. While serving as a sitting commissioner, Commissioner Hayes pocketed over $210,000 from Prime Care, calling into question his ability to prioritize the duties he was elected to fulfill. This is a serious conflict that undermines public trust. Now, some have literally reached out to me or even pulled me aside and said, "Justin, why are you spending time litigating the past? Stop pointing fingers and move forward." Jeff Hayes is currently, right now, serving Dauphin County in the following capacities as a board member. He's on our Dauphin County Board of Assessment and Appeals, a paid position. Dauphin County Redevelopment Authority, Dauphin County Land Bank Authority, Dauphin County appointee to HATS, Harrisburg Area Transportation Study, of which he serves as the chairman. And he is also serving as a paid liaison to the NRA on behalf of Dauphin County for $60,000 a year, a rather familiar number. I'm not living in the past. This is a very present issue. Given these undeniable conflicts of interest and the serious breach of public trust, I'm calling for an immediate vote to remove Jeff Hayes from all boards of which he currently serves in Dauphin County. This is not an isolated incident. This is part of a broad pattern of behavior that raises serious questions about whether these current roles are being used to serve the public interest or self-enrichment. To restore trust in the board's leadership, we must take swift action and ensure that those in power act solely in the interest of Dauphin County residents. I make a motion to remove Jeff Hayes from the following boards: Dauphin County Board of Assessment and Appeal, Dauphin County Redevelopment Authority, Dauphin County Land Bank Authority, Dauphin County appointee to Harrisburg Area Transportation Study, and to end his contract as a liaison to the NRA. Do I have a second?
I'm having trouble here.
Yeah.
If you didn't hear Commissioner Hartwick, I said I make a motion to remove Jeff Hayes from the 4 boards that he sits on and to end his contract as liaison to the NRA. And I'm asking if I have a second.
There's a motion been made. Is there a second? I would be glad to have these discussions with you, Commissioner Douglas. As you're aware, I am not right now in a position to, I'd rather have these discussions with you and be glad to talk about those kinds of concerns and moving forward in an appropriate way. Little taken back by the movement, and if we don't have a second at this today, I'm not prepared to act on any of those particular items.
All right, I just have one final comment then, and this is for everyone in the room. I put no faith in words. I put no faith in words. Actions make change, none of which is being done today in this particular case. And I have a simple request to my colleagues. Do not ever tell me again that you're interested in cleaning up this place. Don't walk up to me and tell me you're interested in cleaning up this place, because I'm just going to say you're not. Find some courage to put a vote on the freaking floor with me. Find some courage to follow your words with actions. And when you do, I'll be here and ready. Thank you.
Thank you,
Uh,
Commissioner Douglas.
Chairman Hartwick, if I may,
Yep.
of the boards that my colleague mentioned, I have, and I've talked to members of those boards, and each of those board members that I've spoken to on the boards that he serves on state that he attends the meetings and he participates and he's a valuable member of those boards. So these come up at the beginning of each year. More than happy to revisit this at the
Reconsider.
beginning of the year, but today, in my opinion, knowing of his service to those boards and hearing from those board members, whether it's tax assessment, et cetera, I've heard that he's a good board member.
Thank you, Commissioner Priest. Any other additional comments? Well, can you hear me still?
Yep, we can. There's no more additional comments.
Any additional comments?
No.
Okay, and if I could just quickly, I know there has been some issues raised today about the procurement process and RFP for healthcare. What I want to instruct Vince and solicitors to do, and we'll do this publicly, is to prepare those options for next week, but also a schedule. If we are going to go back to the table and do an RFP, I'd like to have a schedule and a time period by which these decisions from the board need to be engaged and made in order to enter into this RFP process in a timely fashion to ensure that we have the ability to have those options and potential savings, as well as the commissioner's input as we move into an additional year of making this consideration. If in fact we move forward with extending a one-year option for capital, which I believe, based upon the results that have come in, seem to be the most feasible and provide cost savings as well as continuity for maintaining our current provider, we should develop a schedule next year and make no assumptions related to the engagement of folks. And I look forward to the ability to have a robust discussion about how we proceed and welcome your engagement. And quite frankly, would love to be able to talk to you about the process. And the one concern I do have is to raise any ethical concerns about those particular issues. I think the process was pretty clear, simple, and unlike in the past, did not provide any outs for external best and final offers on multiple occasions, even though we received one. Not considering those, I think, is our option, and one that we've rightly stated at the time that we received them. I think I also think, depending upon how you want to go and how we plan to address this, there could be opportunities for additional savings if you want to do multiple and final offers. We made a decision early not to do that in order to keep the credibility in this process. But ultimately, that's something that we need to determine as we move forward. But it was pretty clear. We needed to do an RFP. We figured out a way to ensure that we were trying to meet the timelines. I had assumed that all commissioners were being engaged and informed related to at least the RFP and the process. And with the bids coming in and setting a deadline, I believe, from my perspective, it was pretty clear that that process had integrity and I think yielded some positive results for both taxpayers and for our employees ultimately. So let's work next year on a timeline. Actually, let's work now on a timeline to ensure that we know when these dates need to occur and provide the necessary feedback in order to ensure that we're all operating on the same page. But I believe there is an opportunity for additional savings as we move forward into next year. If we're doing a one-year deal with trying to go through the exact same process, just with a little bit different levels of communication. So any other questions or concerns? All right, we will take correspondence up. Notification from DEP and notification advising an application which was filed with Susquehanna River Basin. And finally, just so you're aware, I am not there today because my father passed actually a little over 2.5 years ago. And as a part of a promise that I gave to him, I told him I would be taking my mother to spots that he was unable to take her. And I'm here with her today, and I apologize I'm not joining you in person. And look forward to rejoining you next week to engage a little bit more personally. I'm sorry if I had a little trouble hearing you or was disconnected. But we certainly look forward to getting back in the mix, and I look forward to rejoining my mom at some point here today. So, is there any additional individuals from the Board of Commissioners that want to comment? Any Commissioner Douglas, Commissioner Freeze? Anything from Controller Bateman?
No, sir.
All right. How about public participation?
I believe there's a gentleman that's been waiting for a while since the very first. I'm gonna ask that he goes first if that's possible, just because he's coming up.
So the reason I'm here, because my name is Vincenzo Bianchi.
If you sit down, Commissioner Hartwick will be able to hear you because there's a microphone right there. I just want to make sure that he can hear your comments.
My name is Vincenzo Bianchi. I live at the end of Camp Riley Road in Dauphin County. Fort Hunter Conservancy owns the land. That's where there's approximately 160 acres of hiking property. Problem being, there's a very small parking
Can
area.
you still not hear Commissioner Hartwick? You can't hear? I just want to make sure that's on.
Sorry. Thank you.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt your public comment. I just want to make sure Commissioner
It's all right.
Hartwick can hear.
The problem is the parking situation, sir.
Okay.
We can't get in and out of our driveway. Here. Good than I do.
I believe I was just there this week. This is the trail that's right there. Yeah, I was getting a tour of our parks this week, or maybe it was last week, but yes, I'm very familiar with that parking lot.
The situation, there's no policy on how many cars can park there.
Understood.
Many times I've been in a situation where we can't get in or get out.
Got it.
I'm not trying to be a pain in the ass. I just
Yep.
want this to have some kind of, there has to be limitations.
Definitely.
Okay, that's the start. Now, because the Game Commission is purchasing the land next to you, this has opened up a whole nother situation with hunters.
Mhm.
This Saturday, there were 6 cars in there. This is a dusk to dawn parking lot. People are there at 5 o'clock in the morning. People are there till 10 o'clock at night. They're hunting through your land onto Vartan, which is the Buno Anorti Group Trust.
Yeah.
It's John Vartan. They have no regards for whether it's legal or not. The problem is you guys really don't have a clear rule whether I can carry a concealed permit, an open carry permit, whatever the case may be. Hunters are accessing that land illegally at this point. It's still owned by Buno Anorti. It's still private. They tell me to go back in the house and mind my own business. So I'm being confronted with these dudes all the time. It's no fun. Then the rest of the road, it's a half-mile driveway, is now owned by the Pointer LLC. They're parking up and down the driveway, entering into the same land and the LLC land illegally. No one's there to take care of anything.
Yeah.
Your security police have been great with me, but they are limited on what they can do. So they have directed me to basically go over their heads. And that's why I'm here.
Understood. Well, here's what I'm going to say. I think you bring up a lot of challenges, and there seems to be a lot of
There's
a lot of
more.
parties that are
Yes,
that are a part of this.
Yes.
Would it be possible if I give you my card for you to email me, and we can create an opportunity to try to loop those stakeholders in and ensure that we're doing everything in our power as a county to support you? Because I saw exactly where your driveway is. We talked about your house and the challenges you've had
Right.
on the Parks and Rec tour, because I believe we're trying to procure another spot of land
Yeah.
where the parking is going to be eventually for this exact purpose. That was my understanding based on just, again, memory. So I don't want to commit to anything right now, but what I will say is I'll commit to following up with our Parks and Rec director.
That's fine.
And determine if there's a way that we can support you in ensuring that at least on the property that we own, that there's a path for you to get out on that parking.
I just want to have a clear path in
course.
and out. That's
As anyone should from their home. Yes.
right.
definitely.
And the other problem is the firearms thing. I don't know what your policy is. Can people carry a
Talking about
firearm?
in parks,
Yes.
in our county parks.
Yes.
I will have to review the rules
know
on that.
Okay.
I would assume concealed carry applies.
If
You know, I think you could probably concealed carry in a park. I would assume you can concealed carry, and I think it's open carry everywhere in Pennsylvania.
yes, it
But I
is.
don't know if that's. I assume that's Let me look into that. I don't want to make assumptions in a public meeting, but I think if you can get me an email with all those outlined in bullet points, I will make sure to follow up on that because that's a legitimate concern. We want to make sure our residents can get out of their driveway.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Commissioner Hartwick, can you hear any of these comments or is it faint or what is the problem? You're muted now, I think. I think you're muted.
The sound just came back on. It was going for about 10 minutes
Okay.
there while that gentleman was speaking the entire time.
Okay. All right. I'll go ahead and just say next in line for public participation.
Morning, Commissioners. Ona Osai, live in Swatara Township. Originally, I came here today after reading an article in Penn Live that dropped this morning that detailed a lot of corruption by former Commissioner Jeff Haste. And it involves the coroner, it involves trailers. I mean, all the intrigue you could, like Netflix could possibly imagine. And I didn't think it could get any worse. And then I got here this morning. And I heard that we're undergoing processes in this county that are shady at best, right? We're inventing new words up here on the dais just to explain what happened, leaving people out of decisions. And it's actually really reprehensible that after everything that Penn Live has written and uncovered, after everything Commissioner Douglas has uncovered, after what we heard today from Commissioner Prees and Douglas about being left out of processes, that this county can't sit here and cancel the contracts of Jeff Haste. He is someone who we have been allowing to export just bad habits and be, quite frankly, a merchant of death out there in this world. Prime Care Medical, if you Google them and you look up anything about them, their news articles about them, they're all terrible. They're killing people in these prisons. And we have exported that through Jeff Haste out to the world, right? Being commissioner wasn't enough for him, right? So he's had to enrich himself in other ways. Then we're also paying him $60,000 to keep the NRA here in Harrisburg while there's an epidemic of gun violence. 13, 17-year-old children in this county being killed by guns. And we're paying $60,000 this guy, and that's his magic number, right? $60,000. It's what he gets paid everywhere. It adds up, right? And we're paying him. And it was something very simple to end some of this corruption that's been going on would be for the three of you to vote to just cut ties with him from the county. He's made enough money. There are other people to sit on boards. And I absolutely believe that every single one of you need to vote to end all of his contracts and payments from the county. There's other people. He's not that important. Honestly, like his crimes weren't even that good. I don't know how people didn't know about them going on until just now. Yeah, I think you need to vote to end that contract. And I'm very disappointed in this county. Every time I think it couldn't get any worse, here it goes. So thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Pam Parson, City of Harrisburg. My comments today really are going to be about money and transparency. This county is an ethical morass. The more I learn, it's like an onion. Like every week, there's another layer that peels off. It's like a rotten onion. And every layer is more odious than the last one. In the, I don't know, 6 months, half a year that I've been able to attend most of these meetings, what I have seen from places that we use, going from polling places to what happens at the prison board, to the solar farm, to all the boards that previous Commissioner Haste sits on, he might as well be the fourth commissioner at this point. All of these things indicate to me that this is an ethical morass. And while we are doing this, people are dying. People are dying in the prison. People are dying from gun violence. People are dying from drug addiction, from mental health issues. All of these things are happening, and the amount of money that you all control that can do that. And for me, these things call into question everything, everything, like the gaming grant process, like the opioid remediation grants. Where is that money going to, and how is that being controlled? And the fact that there is a former commissioner who gets a lot of money, who sits upon boards like the Land Bank Trust, the that controls property, that controls people's livelihoods, that controls access to resources. All of these things are greatly concerning to me. And, you know, optics is 9/10 of reality. Even if some of the things I mentioned, like the opioid remediation grants, even if that is completely above board, the fact that all of these other things are not calls into question that, because that is what people see. And time again, I have sat here when ethical and moral concerns have been raised, and two of the three commissioners don't seem to find it as it's not as big a deal. And the idea that we will talk about this later in private doesn't work in a public process. And, you know, a couple weeks ago, for instance, you voted for money for the Dauphin County Youth Advisory Group to have a meeting at Camp Hebron. Did you look into Camp Hebron? Is that a safe place in rural Dauphin County for Black and brown children? Given the fact, have you looked at their policies about dress code, about that we are a Christian organization with Christian values? How safe is that for queer and trans youth? How safe is that for Muslim and Jewish and non-religious children? How safe is that? So these are the kinds of things that people are looking at. And even when I look at today's agenda, there are things on there which are opaque because they're not really talked about when you talk about where money goes. So yeah, this is kind of an ethical morass. And I think all the commissioners need to work together to clean this up. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Chairman, I'm not seeing any more public comments. Are you comfortable with me calling for adjournment? Okay, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Was there anything else on the agenda? Okay, make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. We're
Okay.